Jay Delsing spent 25 years on the PGA Tour and is a lifetime member of the PGA Tour and PGA of America. Now he provides his unique perspective as a golfer and network broadcaster. It's time to go on the range with Jay Delsing.
On the Range is brought to you by the Gateway section of the PGA.
Yes, good morning. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Pearlie is with me. Brad Barnes is here at the ESPN studio, and happy Sunday morning. We formatted the show like a round of golf. The first segment is the On the Range segment. It's brought to you by the Gateway PGA. I'm just delighted to have this relationship with them. The PGA head pro has always meant so much to me since I started playing golf 100 years ago. And we've got 300 men and women in our section that are helping to make our golf experiences better. It's just great to have them on the show. Pearl, our social media outlets, we checked the box. Everything pretty good?
Facebook's doing great. Twitter's doing fantastic and need a little work on the others.
What are the others?
We need a little work on those.
Those are the ones we need work on. Yeah, that's what they are. That's perfect. And it could be Instagram, who knows. But I also want to thank Bob and Kathy Donahue.
Yeah, that's it. Throw that in there.
Donahue Painting and Refinishing, 314-805-2132. If you need help in sprucing up the inside or the outside of your home, anything, these are the people you need to call. They're, first of all, great people. They do great work. All right, Pearl. One of my favorite interviews, I got to sit down with Rick Ankiel. What I love about Rick Ankiel, first of all, he's got an incredible story. He shot up into the ranks of MLB like a rock star and just crashed with unable to throw a baseball, anything like himself, you know. And he's so frank and honest about how it all went down, and I just love that about him. And
well, he said that was the secret sauce to getting through it.
It's really incredible. So, okay, we got to talk a little bit about, and I'm sorry, that Ankiel interview is coming up later in the show, but we got to talk about Nelly Korda. We have to talk about Nelly Korda. A couple weeks ago, she claimed the number one spot in the world. She won her second week in a row, the KMPG Women's PGA Championship at Atlanta Athletic Club. Our good buddy Scotty Dunlop's home course down there. It's a great track. And she had won the Meyer Classic in Michigan the week before. John, there's something about the way she plays that reminds me of Tiger.
Really?
There's something about the way she plays. She's when I saw Tiger swing the club the first time, it was okay. He was young. He was his arms were very thin. He was extremely flexible, and he looked out of control. When he started working with Butch, and you know, he comes out on tour in 96 and then wins the Masters in 97, start changing his golf swing, played the best golf maybe ever been played on the planet in the year 2000. When he swung a club in 2000, Pearl, it looked powerfully elegant. And when I watch Nelly Korda, I can just think of she's graceful, she's powerful, she's beautiful, which is it's neither here nor there. But this package, it is like she was meant to do this.
I'm with you. I love her swing. I like, when you talk about Tiger, I like the way she walks with confidence. I like the way she's focused. It's a phenomenal whole game she's bringing.
Where are the weaknesses? I watch her putt, Pearl. Typically speaking, if you find you don't always find great putters around the LPGA Tour. Now the Hall of Famers.
Great
clearly,
putters, yeah.
Right. I mean, just watching her routine, how committed she is. I mean, she looked so focused.
Her swing is so simple. There's just so you sit there and go, why wouldn't this last for a while, and why wouldn't it hold up? And guess what? It is holding up, and if she wants it to, it probably will last for a while.
Right. We never talked about this. It's really not horribly interesting, but I want to bring up.
But we should bring it up on your show, though. It's
right.
not horribly interesting.
Our show is not horribly interesting ever. What do you think of back nine of the U.S. Open at Torrey? We're at a tape show, so we haven't had a bunch of time to talk about it, but it was like this amazing run of golf for 2 hours or so, and everybody's kind of building up. And then, Pearl, it's almost like the air just fell out of the balloon. No disrespect to John Rahm. Great putting exhibition that he put on 17 and 18, those downhill left to right.
Well, but Jay, a big part of that was when Louis hits it left on 17.
Right.
That's when the air came out, and I'm sure it came out of his sails too, because how does that happen?
Well, a
guy that quality. This guy is unbelievable, world class. Obviously, we can all miss shots,
right?
But he had to be sitting there going like, "You have got to be kidding me! You don't want to go right, but for the record, you can go 250 yards right and
still be okay
and have a chance
and still make a par.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no question. It was just a weird event, Pearl, and I don't know why, but I feel like Torrey leads itself.
I think
to
it can
that
do
a little
that.
bit, don't you think?
I think it can. For me, one reason I think it can is because of the type of grass, because of the type of, you get out of position a little bit, then you're trying to hit some shots that you can normally recover from, but because of the kind of wiry grass, you can't get there.
Isn't Torrey supposed to be links?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't play that way.
No, you don't.
And then
play.
the greens can get just enough.
What would a U.S. Open, Pearl, look like there if they shaved the whole place?
Yeah,
it made it hard.
I don't know.
I want to run a quick tip of the cap segment. It's brought to you by Dean Team of Kirkwood, 314-966-0303. Today we tip our cap to all the crews that spend countless hours on the golf course, keeping it beautiful, keeping it in good shape, mowing the greens, putting flowers out there, just making it a great place for us to go spend our time. We want to thank all of you folks out there. And we are tipping our cap to you. Thanks again to the Dean team, Colin and Brandy, 314-966-0303. You need any sort of vehicle? Pearlie's driving one right this minute.
Got the boat towing behind it out in the parking lot as we speak.
Okay, so give them your line about this great car.
It's the first truck I've had that pulls my boat instead of getting pushed by my boat, so it's perfect. I love it.
Thanks, Colin. We'll be right back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
Did you know that the Gateway section of the PGA is comprised of over 335 members and over 200 facilities? I didn't either. Every time you drive up to your local country club, public facility, or driving range, there's an excellent chance that it is run and operated by one of the many members of our section. Since the time I was first introduced to the game, a PGA of America professional was there giving lessons, running the golf shop, and growing the game. The many men and women of the Gateway PGA section spend countless hours behind the scenes doing hundreds of little things to make our golf experience enjoyable. PGA Reach, Drive, Chip, and Putt, PGA Junior League, Rank and Jordan Golf Program. Those are just a couple of the many programs run and supported by our section. To learn more or to find out how you can get involved, go to gatewaypga.org, the Gateway PGA, growing the game we love.
Are you looking for a great career? Do you like meeting nice people, working with your hands, and fixing things inside the home? Marcone Appliance Parts Company would like to encourage you to consider a high-paying career in major appliances repair and service. Major appliance service technicians are in very high demand. Major appliance techs work regular hours and make excellent money. They work local, in their own communities, and are home every night. It is an incredibly stable industry and highly rewarding work. Discover more about your new career in major appliance services today by contacting a local appliance service company in your hometown.
In Kansas City, contact Nick Turner at Consumer Service Company. The phone number is 913-541-0438.
Marcone Appliance Parts Company is based in St. Louis, Missouri, and is the largest distributor of major appliance parts in North America and proud distributor of General Electric parts.
I am delighted to welcome Marie Davila to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. I'm sure you know where it is, but in case you don't, Marie Davila is a landmark out in West St. Louis County. It's located on the corner of Clayton and Weidman Roads. It's also on 21 beautiful rolling acres right on the way out to Queenie Park. It's a country club-like atmosphere. It's iconic, and it's absolutely gorgeous. When my dad died and my mom decided she didn't want to live alone, Marie Davila was the first place we called. When we pulled up, we were greeted at the front door by the owner, and he took us around on a tour of the facility. We learned that there are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom villas that you can live in, And there's also 24-hour care in the East, West, and the Waterford buildings. So Marie Davila had everything that my mom wanted. One of the things that stood out in my mind as well was the way the family-owned business treats their guests. That's right, they refer to them as guests, but they treat them like family. So if you're in the process of trying to make a tough decision for this next part of life, you got to visit Marie Davila. This is local, this is family, and this is St. Louis. This is Marie Davila. Come be our guest.
When things come out of left field, having a game plan matters. Farmers Insurance has over 90 years of experience helping people play through every stage of the game. We've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything. Talk to Farmers Agent Ed Fogelbach at 314-398-0101 to see how they can help you stay in the game. That's Ed Fogelbach at 314-398-0101.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
After my knee replacement, I was able to swing the golf club again without any pain. SSM Health Physical Therapy guided me through the rehab process. When I was ready, one of their specially trained KVES certified physical therapists put me on the 3D motion capture system. It was awesome. They evaluated my posture, alignment, and the efficiency of my swing. They gave me golf-specific exercises to help my swing become more efficient and repeatable. Call them at 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Tell them Jay sent you for special pricing. Your therapy, our passion.
Grab your clubs. We're headed to the front nine on Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Front Nine is brought to you by the Ascension Charity Classic.
Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. I got Pearlie with me. Brad Barnes is taking good care of us here at the ESPN studios. We're headed to the Front Nine. It's brought to you by the Ascension Charity Classic this September 6th through 12th. It's getting close, Pearl. Can't wait. Norwood's in great shape. The community's just come around. Ascension is just the rock star people. They're going to be a great host to this event.
But are you ready? Talk about where you're at.
I'd say I'm feeling a little better than I did last time we had this discussion, but I'm practicing every day. I have some really good days. I still have some stinkers in there, but, I always did.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
we'll put those behind us.
Yeah.
Go get them.
We'll blame them on the caddy. That's what the caddies are for. All right, got this great interview with Rick Ankiel. I hope you enjoy it.
Line drive, left center field. This one will be extra bases for Quintanilla. Here comes that throw from Ankiel. He got him! Another one! Rick Ankiel with his second outfield assist of the night. Both on the fly, both over 200 feet. Unreal!
Rick Ankiel is brought to you by Golden Tee.
Man, I'm such a huge baseball fan and such a huge fan of yours. Your career has been amazing. What's happened to you probably in your mind hasn't necessarily been amazing, but let's talk just a little bit about growing up and your life in baseball, because you had an amazing stat with some of your high school records, didn't you?
Yeah, you know what? Growing up, just normal beach life, I guess you could say, is the way I see it. I grew up in South Florida in a little beachy town, so spent a lot of time around the water and just, it's kind of a goofy kid, and I just gravitated towards baseball. It was something I was instantly good at, and, I was pretty small. I didn't grow till I was a sophomore in high school, and I'm kind of glad for it because I think it made me learn how to be creative because everybody was bigger than me. So once I did grow and gain the strength that everybody else had, I felt like I already knew how to play the game of cat and mouse, especially when it came to pitching. I grew up a huge Braves fan, so watching the Braves in the 90s, when you talk about Glavine and Maddox and Smoltz and the way those guys pitch, well, from watching them, every single night on TV, I already knew how to pitch, and I was already kind of creative. So now all of a sudden I grew, gained a ton of velocity, and my sophomore, junior year in high school, I'm throwing in the low 90s already. So, it was just. It became, instead of thinking, man, maybe I got a chance to go to college here, it became, I definitely have a chance to gain a scholarship and possibly get drafted professionally. So everything happened pretty fast just because of, how I grew. It was over one summer where I went from throwing 84 to 94 And then it was like, okay, this is real. And, how do I lock this in and how can I make myself better from there?
Rick, it's kind of crazy when you start thinking about from the nuts and bolts of what you just said, because you're a crafty and creative kind of thinker, and then all of a sudden you throw some power and gas behind it. That's a game changer, isn't it?
A total game changer. I think that's a great word for it too, because like I said, it was, okay, I made my all-star teams, but I wasn't the best on our team by any means. And then once I grew and that velocity came, well, now I understood how to pitch. Now I can start blowing guys away with different things. And it just, like you said, changed the game for me and changed the way everybody viewed me. All of a sudden, scouts started showing up at my games. And, that whole dream of possibly going professional became very real and, right there on the surface where I could see it.
Oh, my gosh. And then getting drafted out of high school, that's got to be a thrill. And talk us through that. Take us through that decision, bud, because you could go to damn near any college you want to. Everybody's going to want you to play for them, but it's almost like you could just skip a step or something.
So the college process, or that, let's just say your junior year where you sign your letter of intent in high school, excuse me, what an amazing time. You're getting letters from colleges saying that they want you, they're going to offer you scholarship. I remember the first letter I ever got was from Stetson University, and I was just out of my mind. Your name's on the envelope, and the letterhead from the college is on the top of the letter. And then after that, it just started to pour in. And being a South Florida kid and having really good programs as far as Florida State, UF, the Florida Gators, and then the Miami Hurricanes, I looked at it like, I was a hometown kid anyway. I don't have to leave Florida. In my heart, I grew up a Braves fan and I grew up a Seminole fan, and I really wanted to go to FSU. I wanted to go there and do the tomahawk chop and live that dream, and it became real. I started, getting scouted by them, letters from them, talking to them, and all of a sudden, right towards the end, right before the draft came, they came in and said, look, your stock has risen so much. We just don't think you're going to be able to turn down what the professional teams will offer you out of the draft. So we're going to pull out, because in baseball, even if you sign a letter of intent with that program and then you end up signing pro, they lose a partial of that scholarship that they offer you. So they didn't want to take that chance, which I understood, but I was heartbroken at the same time. And then I chose to go to Miami, which technically would have been closer to where I live, but still a great program. And at the time, they were really good. And so, I knew I would have had a chance to win some national championships. Pat Burrell was there at the time. So it was kind of like really looked at it as like a no-lose situation. My mom really wanted me to go to college because, nobody in our family had graduated college. And I just looked at it like, you know what? I'm ready to go to college. I think it'll be a really fun time. If I get drafted and that works too, hey, fine. But both of them were no-lose situations to me. I just wanted to play baseball, and it really didn't matter which way I went.
And so the Cardinals, did you have a favorite obviously you said the Braves, but and how could you not love the Braves with what they were doing with that pitching staff? And they were perennial. Well, by the time you're looking at, they were winning a lot, but they had just come from a really slow period of time, I think, before that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a Brave. There was no question about it. I wanted to go to the Atlanta Braves. I grew up watching the Atlanta Braves. I want to pitch, play for Bobby Cox. And to be quite honest, I had no idea who the Cardinals were because, TBS in South Florida, that was Brave Station. That's who we watched. And, the draft comes and all of a sudden, I get a call from my agent, Scott Boris, who says, hey, the St. Louis Cardinals drafted you. And I remember saying to him, like, who's the St. Louis Cardinals? Why wasn't it the Braves? And, he laughed and he said, listen, this is a really good organization. This is a great thing. Trust me. It's going to be a great fit for you. And I knew nothing about it. And obviously he was right. Sometimes things work out for reasons. And, the St. Louis Cardinals, the organization, the fans, the town, they've been so good to me over the years. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Oh, my gosh. And so you signed and you just kind of blew through the minors. The Carolina and the Midwest League, all-star starting pitcher. You got all the minor league accolades you could possibly get, and then it's the big leagues, right?
then it was the big leagues. It was a meteoric rise, and I felt like I just kept getting better. Something happened between my first year and the second year. Not something I could really pinpoint, but just all of a sudden my control got better. The fastball low and away, it became where I could throw that routinely. If I needed a strike, it was just a really good pitch for me. And I had a good fastball with movement anyway. So, as a starting pitcher, you always want to have, really as any pitcher, you want to have a pitch that you can go to when you need a strike in any count. And it was a quality strike, not just a strike. So when I went in for that AA year, that happened, and I started throwing the ball to the inside corner a lot better, and everything just started to, move in a better direction. I went from AA to AAA that second year, and then to the big leagues. And all of a sudden, you're in a locker room with guys that you grew up watching. I mean, Mark McGwire had just broken the home run record the year before, so all of a sudden, this guy's my teammate. I'm looking around at all these names in the locker room, and you got Jim Edmonds and Mark McGwire and all these names of superstars, and you're a part of it. It's an unbelievable feeling to get dressed in that locker room, and you're looking at these guys that you've watched forever, and now all of a sudden you're on the same team. It's an incredible feeling.
I can remember, but my very first session on the driving range, just walking by Tom Watson, I'm like, there's Tom Watson. I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here? You have all these wild thoughts run through your mind, and then you start swinging the club, and they kind of go away. But one of my most favorite people in the world is Mike Matheny, and he was your catcher. Did you have an instant connection with him, or how did you guys? Because I know you guys are pretty close, and I know you think a lot of him.
Yeah, no, listen, Mike, well, first of all, he's the ultimate professional, and he's an absolute animal. And there's nobody that's going to outwork Mike Matheny. Certainly in my playing days and watching how he went about the routine of getting ready, and even when it came to blocking balls, I mean, you're throwing a bullpen, and he's treating it like it's the seventh game of the World Series, blocking balls, framing stuff, doing this. Never took a pitch off, and that was what was always amazing to me. And obviously, I think anybody who knows Mike, you know how solid of a guy he is. He's just that guy, right? He's the salt of the earth. You could trust him with anything. It just doesn't matter. So for me to have him back there, and my rookie season, he had an unbelievable season defensively. Because I would throw some zoom balls here and there, and I would cut a fastball on accident, but he could catch it, frame it, no matter what. Definitely a mentor of mine. And when you talk about having a solid rock in your corner, especially as a rookie, I couldn't have asked for anybody better back there behind the plate.
Okay, that'll wrap up the front nine, but don't go anywhere. John and I will be back, and we'll bring you the second half of our interview with Rick Ankiel. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
If you have a car and you're struggling to get some protection for that car, let me recommend Vehicle Assurance. 1-866-341-9255 is their number. They have been in business for over 10 years and have a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is one of the reasons why they have over 1 million satisfied customers. They are known for their painless claims process and their premium vehicle protection. So whatever that car looks like, they can help you. You can find them at vehicleassurance.com or call them again at 866-341-9255 for a free quote. Get the protection and the peace of mind you deserve.
Professional golf returns to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic, presented by Emerson. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club, September 6th through the 12th. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, and Pro-Am foursomes are on sale now. All proceeds go to North St. Louis County Charities. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com or call 314-938-2828. PGA Tour Golf is back in the loo. The Ascension Charity Classic.
I am with my buddy Joe Sheezer from USA Mortgage.
Hi, Jay. How are you?
Doing great, Joe. Thanks so much for the support of the show.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Congratulations. This is your third year, and we're really proud to be a sponsor all 3 years since the very beginning. It's a great show, and we look forward to it every Sunday morning.
Well, thanks a bunch. Tell us just a little bit about USA Mortgage and what you can do for people.
Well, USA Mortgage is a ESOP. It's an employee-owned company, so over 1,000 families here in St. Louis work for the company. So if you want an opportunity to patronize a local company, please call USA Mortgage 314-628-27 2015, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, go over your options, discuss all the different programs that are available, and give you an opportunity to support a local company.
That's awesome, Joe. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Jay. Thank you.
I'm sitting down with Mike Cummings on my Gateway PGA Spotlight. Mike, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Jay. How are you doing, sir?
Doing just great. Mike, please tell us what's going on at Eldon Country Club and down in Eldon, Missouri. You've got a lot of fun stuff I want our listeners to know about.
Yeah, we're right at the gateway to Lake of the Ozarks. So we do have a lot of traffic that comes through here from the St. Louis market and Kansas City market and Iowa, Nebraska, those areas. But we're real passionate at our club here about our juniors and our veterans. So we've got a really, really strong junior program. And one of the highlights of that junior program is our PGA Junior League each and every year. And then, of course, I'm a combat vet myself years and years ago. So being involved with PGA Hope hits really close to my heart, and trying to get veterans involved in the game of golf. So a couple of those programs we're real passionate about here at my facility, and we try to do everything we can to cultivate those relationships with the kids and with our veterans as well.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your service, but it's working. Your numbers are big down there, and the vets are out playing golf. I mean, what a great way to say thank you for these men and women that have sacrificed so much.
Yeah, one of the cool things we do, we started it, I think this might be my 5th or 6th year of doing it. We host a tournament every year, and we call it our Cards for Vets tournament. And we generally host it on Armed Forces Day every year, which is always that second Saturday or third Saturday in May. And proceeds from that tournament, we've been able to buy 2 of the Solo Rider golf carts, which are the handicap accessible golf carts for our veterans to use on our facility and other facilities throughout mid-Missouri. They're a really neat piece of equipment to have. So you can have an individual that potentially may be a double amputee at the legs, and we could put them in this cart and strap them in through seatbelt harnesses and things of that nature, and allows them to play the game of golf. They can drive this golf cart on the greens. It's got a compaction rate of 185-pound person. They can drive it into the bunkers, and allows an individual to play the game of golf that may be a double amputee. And we also have other individuals. I mean, one of the cool things about it is I've got some seasoned members at my facility, one of them being a Korean War vet. He's 94. He plays twice a week, and he utilizes this cart. And, he thanks me every day and thanks God every day that he's still able to play the game of golf at 94 years of age by using one of these golf carts that we were able to raise some money for him to use at our facility. So that's a pretty cool thing to be able to do and to be able to have as well.
You've seen it and played it in bars over the past 30 years, and now you can bring Golden Tee to your home. Complete your basement or man cave with the popular arcade game, The Ultimate Virtual Golfing Experience. Over 80 courses, unique game modes, and you can even challenge a buddy in online tournaments. However you play, you will be the talk of your neighborhood. Visit home.goldentee.com to learn more.
I want to tell you about Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. My friend Colin Burnt runs the store over there, and he helped me buy a used Volkswagen for my daughter Jo when she turned 16. We've had the car for over a year. It's running great. It's nice and safe, and we've taken it there to get it serviced just recently. Pearlie, that does the show with me, just bought a nice Toyota truck from Colin. So I want you to know that if there's any sort of vehicle you need, anything at all, you can get it at the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. You can call them at 314-966-0303 or visit them at deanteamvwkirkwood.com.
We're halfway there. It's time for the Back Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Back Nine is brought to you by Fogelbach Agency with Farmers Insurance.
Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. Pearlie's with me, and we're headed to the Back Nine that's brought to you by the Fogelbach Agency with Farmers. 314-398-0101. Ed Fogelbach and his family run this agency, and they are nice people to deal with. If you have any sort of insurance product, any sort of need, call them today. They will help you out. Let's get right back to the conclusion of our interview with Rick Ankiel.
Ankiel out to deep right field. Has a chance to leave the ballpark. It's gone! A 3-run shot for Rick Ankiel back in the major leagues. Remarkable. 5-0 St. Louis. Remarkable.
Rick Ankiel is brought to you by Golden Tee.
You've written a book. It's called The Phenomenon and Pressure and the Yips, the pitch that changed my life. Can we just talk about that pitch and about that whole situation? It's the 2000 NLDS Game 1, and you're starting as a 20-year-old rookie.
Yeah, what an amazing moment, right? I had a good rookie year, and then that last month really turned it up. And one pitcher of the month, was feeling the flow, felt like this was my time to shine. This is my time to come out and show everybody, who I am and what the future is going to look like. Not only that, but we're playing against the Atlanta Braves, my childhood heroes. I'm pitching against Greg Maddux, my childhood hero, right? So all these things lining up. I remember before the game, ironically, I'm in the clubhouse with my bat, and all I could think about is I want to hit a home run off Greg Maddux so bad. I wasn't even worried about pitching because everything was going so well. It was like, doesn't matter. That's going to be fine. All I need to do is hit a home run, and I'll be a legend forever. So that's really where my mind was. And then we get into the game, and, Mike Matheny got hurt with the hunting knife, so he wasn't there. We had, another catcher there who just wasn't familiar with catching me. And I threw a fastball in, and as I mentioned earlier, sometimes I'd get around it, trying to throw it a little bit too hard or whatever, and it would cut on accident. Well, we're talking about a ball at 95 miles an hour that's cutting, 5 or 6 inches, and you don't know it's coming, and sometimes that can be hard to catch. So I let this fastball go, and it cuts, and he misses it, and it wasn't even really a bad pitch. He just didn't catch it. But I remember thinking, man, I just threw a wild pitch on national TV, which terrible thoughts, but that's what went through my mind.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about a pitch. So all of a sudden I spike a curveball, things start speeding up. I launch a couple balls off the back screen, and, I'm standing there looking at this going, okay, wait a second, what's going on? So I start trying to use all the mechanical keys that have always gotten me back on track, whether it was, stay over my back leg, keep my front shoulder in, the things that I would use, and nothing was working. And it just kept getting worse. And before I know it, I walked the entire team, it felt like, and I was out of the game. And all of a sudden I'm staring at a game where, we were up 4 or 5 runs or whatever it was against Greg Maddux, which is unheard of in Game 1. All I needed to do was go out there and pitch a okay game, and we win the game. And all of a sudden I'm letting the Braves back in, and I can't throw a strike, and I'm out of the game. Just a surreal moment. And I think, at the time, with the meteoric rise and the way things were going for me, all the media attention, just everything that was there, and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under you and it's gone and you don't know why. I was too young to even understand the magnitude of the moment and honestly exactly what was happening.
But it's interesting because you said your mind starts speeding up, and because I've had the yips when I played golf before, and that's exactly what happens. All of a sudden, you go from this kind of calmish spot to there's so much running through your mind, you don't even know what it is anymore.
The thing too, that first game, I didn't even know what the yips. I don't even know what the word meant. I didn't even know what anxiety was at that point, and so this is 2000. So during that game, honestly, I didn't know what was going on. Then I go into the next game against them. We end up beating the Braves. We go on to the next series against the Mets. I talk my way into pitching again because I threw a bullpen in between that, and I was lights out. Tony calls me in his office. Hey, I don't really think you should start, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, this is my time. You see my bullpen. That's behind me. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to go. So he's like, long story short, okay, here you go. Well, I go out, I start throwing wild pitches again. It just happens again. And I still didn't understand what was going on. I remember telling the media and everyone, like, it's just a mechanical flaw. I'll fix it. It doesn't matter. And that was really just the naiveness of being a 20-year-old and not understanding. I had never been through anything that I couldn't overcome or beat. And I always just thought, I know my body and my mechanics so well that I'll overcome this with pure mechanics because I know what it is. I'll like replicate that to an exact science to where every time I release the ball, it'll go exactly where I want, like it always has. And that just didn't work. And I would say not until, going through that off season and then coming around to 2001 into spring training is when I really started to understand, this wasn't a one-time event, one-time thing. And this was something I was going to have to really buckle down and, figure out to be even close to who I was before it happened.
Rick, did this stuff, so when I've had this, and I've had some close friends talk about this before, and I really appreciate you sharing because, man, athletes run from this like it's, it's the kryptonite.
Because it's the plague. It is kryptonite.
But because nobody wants to come and help you because they feel like if they touch you, they might get it. I mean, it's so freaky, isn't it?
It is, but it is, and in a way, but for me, when I look at it, I understand that, look, everybody's fragile. Most for people's psyches are fragile, and athletic careers are built on confidence. And when your confidence gets shattered and maybe you don't necessarily know how to handle it, it can become the end of your career, which for me, it was pretty much the end of my pitching career. Obviously, I made it back again, but I was never that same cocky, confident Ken that I was before it happened. And, especially we're going back to 2000, 2001 now. This was just an untalked about thing. And this is a time when men didn't go to psychologists and, you didn't ask for mental help and nobody really, put too much time and effort on that side or didn't want to admit it if they did. A taboo type thing where I think now too, it's much easier in a sense for guys to try to hide it and pretend that they don't have it or they're not dealing with any kind of insecurities than it is to admit it, which obviously now going through it, and I'll ask you in a second, but after going through it, like I know it now helps me to talk about it than not talk about it because it's a lot easier for me to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I don't like throwing from 60 feet, 6 inches, but I'll do it. Or, yeah, I don't like chipping, but I'm going to do it versus you try to hide it. Everybody can see it anyway. So to me, I think if you are dealing with it or going through it, it's easier to talk about it and get it out there than it is to try to hide it. Because for me, when you hide it, it just boils up, grows bigger, and it becomes something, a big dragon you don't want to deal with. How about you? What do you think?
Oh my gosh, 100%. But I was on the PGA Tour for 4 years before I realized I was like the only guy out there that didn't have a sports psych. But nobody talked about it. The golfers, it's not a team and you don't have a whole lot of people really pulling for you. So there's not a lot of information, at least back then, that was shared. And so once I started realizing that I wasn't like completely crazy, I started feeling better about this, about it. But it was not an easy thing to try to, even figure out how to get help from.
Well, no doubt about it. And, now that we're in 2021, I think people have really dug into this and tried to figure out how to get guys through it. And, a lot more things have come out on your fight or flight system and emotional responses and some things that you can, there are some things out there I think that you can help guys with to help them understand that, when you start going through this or that anxiety comes, the fight or flight, your body is just preparing for what it thinks is going to be, a war moment or a battle type moment. And I think you can help guys by helping them understand that, one, they're not alone. Two, that this is your body's natural response to it's feeling stressed and feels like it's getting put into a danger moment. So you're not, don't feel like you're all of a sudden crazy now because this is happening. That's just your body's response because it's preparing for a battle. Yeah. And there's more to it than that, but it is crazy. There's no question about it.
For golf, most of the time the putting stuff comes in because we're trying to control the ball too much, and we're also not aiming where you think you're aiming. So when you're loose and you're young and you don't think about much, you aim a little left and you push it a little. You aim a little right and you hook it a little. Who cares? But when you start playing professionally and you spend all this time, on certain things, just like you said, I can throw this ball right where I want to. I know when to release this thing, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden you realize, holy smokes, all these old keys don't work anymore. I was completely lost, Rick. I was like, I don't know if I can even hold on to my putter. That's how bad I felt.
I'm laughing with you, not at you, trust me.
No, it's all good.
Look, I was looking down and couldn't feel the ball, and then all of a sudden my wrist action wouldn't work. You go to throw, for me anyway, I'd go to throw the baseball, and it's like you have a miniature Caesar, and you black out through the release point, and all of a sudden you open your eyes and like, okay, where'd the ball go? Did I bounce it, or did I throw it like really high left? It's an amazing thing, and that's the thing, right? It's like, when we're young, we just do things without thinking. And then all of a sudden, you're never taught tools in how to deal with maybe adversity or anxiety and all these things. And then something happens where you have to think about it and you don't have anything to go back and rely on. And then you start to overanalyze, your confidence gets shattered. And then you start trying everything under the moon. Well, maybe I used to putt with my weight on my left foot or my weight on my back foot or my hand this way or that way. And you start looking at video and you almost create more problems than what was there before, because the reality is either you make the putt or you don't. But what happens is we start judging ourselves and going, oh my God, I missed it by 8 feet, or I missed it 6 inches to the right. The reality is either you made it or you didn't. You know what I mean? You commit to a putt, you make it or you don't. But easier said than done, right? And then, that's what happens. You start being debilitated by your thoughts instead of letting them help you.
It isn't amazing when we're young how there are no thoughts. I mean, basically, I can remember just going through a round of golf going, I've got, every time I got my driver, I swung as hard as I could. And then everything else, all I tried to do was hit the ball. I mean, I was literally aiming at a flag and just swinging the club. That's it.
Well, so in baseball, it's the same way. And as many golfers I've talked to, it's typically the same. It's all in the finesse stuff. The putts and the chips is where it gets sticky, because you have to you got to control it, versus if you're swinging your driver and you're just letting it rip, or if I'm doing something in baseball and I'm throwing it at 100 feet and I'm letting it eat, that's fine. You get into the infielders or the catchers throwing it back to the pitcher and they have to lob it. They don't want to look at it. All the finesse stuff is where it gets in trouble, because, what happens is we start slowing down through the contact point or through the release point, and you're not being aggressive. When you're young, and it's mind-boggling in one sense, right? Because most of the time, these athletes, whatever sport it is, it's something they've done since they were 3 years old. And whether it's throwing or hitting, you've always been able to do it left-handed, right-handed, standing on one foot, one toe, sideways, right? If somebody could ask you to hit a cut, you do it no problem. Somebody asks you to do this, you do it no problem. And all of a sudden you go through this and you don't remember, like you said, you don't even remember how to pick up the club. We get lost in all this jumbled thoughts and overanalyzation and trying so many things that you forget what the basic, what your basic tools were.
Rick, it's interesting. My dad played Major League Baseball, and I come from a sports-loving family, and you baseball players typically are really superstitious. At least my dad fit right into that. And so I was given these superstitions, and I was like, wait a second, did I mark that ball with the head up or tails up? Or I wound up having to give up all that stuff because I couldn't keep track of it. It was so crazy. It was like, wait a second, it had nothing to do with anything.
Understood. I've done the same thing. Hey, it is what it is, right? We all want something to make it, take the credit or put the blame on. And I'm with you. I know when I was going through the throwing stuff, I started overanalyzing everything, even though I knew it sounded crazy and it wasn't, all I wanted to do was be the pitcher I was before this happened. And I remember I'd brush my teeth, and it's like, well, maybe I brushed my teeth this way or that way, or maybe I opened the card. I just started overanalyzing everything because I didn't know what to do or where to go. All I wanted to do was be the guy I was before. So that's the merry-go-round in a 24/7, where it takes you, and how it can literally destroy you mentally on and off the field, because you can't just, you hear over and over to leave what you do, at the golf course or at the field, leave it there. You go home and you live a different life. It's not who you are, it's just what you do. But when you go through something like that, you can't help but take it with you. And, even though you're trying to forget, you're driving down the street, I'd see kids playing catch. I might stop and watch them and try to throw like they're throwing, or I watch a big league game on TV and I'm like, well, let me try those mechanics. Maybe that'll work. And that's the thing. You try so many things, you just end up getting way more lost and you go way down the rabbit hole. It's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, you forget who you were as that athlete, because you have these unique qualities. And I, oh my gosh, it's so interesting. All right, so let's talk about the return, though. This was one of the most impressive things ever. So you decided, you had Tommy John, you had a bunch of various things, but you decided you're going to go back into the Cardinal system as an outfielder. Who can do that?
Well, luckily,
I mean, you did it.
You know what? I was so, I finally got to the point where I was like, the pitching thing, I guess, is just not going to work. It's starting to change, who I am and my relationships with everyone around me. And I tried to look at it like, what's this look like in 5 years or 8 years? And if this is what it takes for me to go to the field and try to be successful and compete against guys, it's not worth it. It's taken a toll on my health. And so at that moment, all of a sudden, I'm done with baseball. The day I walked in Tony's office and said, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. To the same day, by the end of the day, I end up, agreeing to come back as an outfielder. It was a whirlwind of a day, but, at the end of it, keeping this short and sweet, I looked at it like, you know what? I got nothing to lose out of all the stuff I just went through with this throwing thing. Why not give it a chance to hit? I always felt like I could hit. I think the biggest, I had power. The biggest thing I was looking at was, will I be able to hit, for enough average and hit every day, especially when pitchers start trying to attack me as a hitter with all their repertoire versus just, trying to pitch me as a pitcher. So that was my biggest question. But once again, I looked at it like, what do I have to lose? I might as well give this thing a shot.
Okay, so how does this sound? There are two people in the history of Major League Baseball. One of them is you, and the other is a guy named Babe Ruth that have won 10 games and hit over 70 home runs, that have won 10 games as a pitcher and hit over 70 home runs, and also to start a postseason game as a pitcher and also hit a home run as a position player in the postseason. Really?
It sounds like you can keep saying that, and I'll never get tired of hearing it.
Man.
Anytime you're in the same sentence with Babe Ruth, it feels amazing.
Oh, my gosh, Rick, I can remember, I think, the first home run you hit in Busch Stadium, and I think Tony La Russa almost had a heart attack. I can remember them showing Tony, and I know Tony, and he's such a good guy, and he thinks the world of you. And I can remember the grand slam that you hit. I think it was against a left-hander for the Reds or something. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I was so impressed. But here's what I want to circle this back to, Bud. The two throws that you made in center field, and I think they were both in Colorado, weren't they? You got to know what throws I'm talking about. To third?
Yeah, they definitely were.
I mean,
just an amazing moment, amazing game. And, it's funny because I always played everything humble and cool. And, I made the first throw and I throw out Willie Tavares, who's one of the fastest runners in the game at the time. And it was an unbelievable throw. There's no question about it. So I make that throw and now we move on to the game, move through the game and, there's nobody on and Quinton Nia hits the ball into the left center field gap. And I start hauling Bud over there and I'm a zillion feet away at the fence, but like I said, there was nobody on. So I got nothing to lose. I can let the ball eat. I can try to throw him out. As soon as I let the ball go, it came out so clean that I knew I had a chance. And it's a funny thing as a player, you never know when your greatest moment, your greatest play, or your greatest game is going to happen. But Troy Gloss dekes the runner. The throw ends up being there on time. Troy Gloss dekes the runner, and he tags him. Umpire calls him out immediately. Looking back, I wish I would have, shot air guns or a fake laser or bow and arrow. I don't know, something. Only because in that moment, it happens fast. But in that moment, I knew I'll never have a game again where I throw two guys out like that. It'll just never happen. Like, the opportunities don't come like that. And the fact that it was, I threw it as far and as hard as I could and it was on target. It's just funny how many, and I'm sure you can attest to this, how many like thoughts actually go through your mind, like really, really fast, even though they're short moments. And I knew right then, like, this is never going to happen again. This is the greatest game I'm ever going to have. I hit a home run that game too. So it was like, this is the pinnacle of games. I can never have a game with this many moments in it. But anyway, yeah, what a fun game.
Oh my gosh, Rick, I was taught you want to know when a good play happens on the field, watch the other players' reactions. So with the first runner you threw out at third, Tavares, Gloss did a great job on both of them, but the throws were perfect. Hell, he looked like he was a statue, right? And so the runners were letting up a little maybe, but they were perfect throws. But how about our bench? The guys on the bench were erupting when this was happening. You could see everybody just watch this throw with their mouths open. And then you did it the second one from in the middle of was that at Coors Field?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a huge ballpark, right? Even though the ball flies a lot, it just seemed like you threw it it would be like throwing it from downtown St. Louis out to Chesterfield or something. It seemed like it stayed in the air forever. And to watch the reaction of your fellow players, that's when I knew, I'm like, this is never going to happen again.
I'm with you. And my favorite part is when I'm watching Chris Duncan and his reaction. We were really good friends, and every time I get a chance to watch that highlight and I see his bright smile and his reaction, it just gives me the ultimate thrill. It's a great thing.
All right, Pearl, that wraps up the interview. One of my favorites. I just love his honesty. I know it happened a while ago, but some of that stuff, some of those balls he was throwing was so embarrassing. And, I've embarrassed myself horribly with a golf club in my hand, and I just love how he just confronts it head on and says how much it helped him by doing so.
Yeah, but old baseball, old timers, the past, confronting things wasn't really what it was about. It was absolutely about sucking it up, don't talk about it, pretend it didn't happen, don't acknowledge it. And I think we find that there's a lot of reasons not to do that kind of stuff. I think it's very cool that he kind of led the way with that. And it is, he says, that's what gave him the opportunity to do something else.
Let's wrap this back nine up, and then we'll break down the rest of this interview on the Michelob Ultra 19.
Because I'm on a roll. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's cut Pearlie's mic meet. All right, we'll be right back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Bill DeWitt III, president of the St. Louis Cardinals, and you're talking to Jay Delsing. And what's the name of the show?
Golf with Jay Delsing.
Oh, okay, let me start it.
Hey, Jay Delsing here for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros use on the PGA Tour. That's right. SSM Health Physical Therapy has Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screen on you, as well as putting you on the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Trust me, I've been on it. It is really cool. Proper posture and alignment can help you keep it right down the middle. There's 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call them at 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
Are you looking for a great career? Do you like meeting nice people, working with your hands, and fixing things inside the home? Marcone Appliance Parts Company would like to encourage you to consider a high-paying career in major appliances repair and service. Major appliance service technicians are in very high demand. Major appliance techs work regular hours and make excellent money. They work local in their own communities and are home every night. It is an incredibly stable industry and highly rewarding work. Discover more about your new career in major appliance services today by contacting a local appliance service company in your hometown. In St. Louis or St. Charles County, contact Brian Probst at AAA Home Services. The phone number is 636-299-3871. Marcone Appliance Parts Company is based in St. Louis, Missouri, and is the largest distributor of major appliance parts in North America and proud distributor of General Electric parts.
I know you've heard me talk about Whitmore Country Club. I want to thank them for supporting the show again for the third year and tell you things are going great for them. There's 90 holes of golf when you join at Whitmore Country Club. The membership provides you access to the Missouri Bluffs, the Links of Dardenne, and the Golf Club of Wentzville. Cart fees are included. There's no food or beverage minimums and no assessments. 24-hour fitness center is fantastic. There's 2 large pool complexes and 3 tennis courts. Stop in the golf shop. You got to see my buddy Bummer. He is an absolute great guy that would love to help you with your game and love to show you around the facility. He and his staff run golf leagues, skins games, members tournaments, couples events. There's live music. There's great dining opportunities out there, outside, inside. Anything you and your family need golf-wise, fun-wise, visit whitmoregolf.com or call them at 636-926-9622.
Don't miss the hottest rookie class in PGA Tour Champions history. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club September 6th through the 12th. Join legends Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, and Hale Irwin to celebrate the PGA Tour Champions' newest event. Professional golf returning to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic presented by Emerson. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, Pro-Am foursomes on sale now. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Let your local farmer's insurance agent, Ed Fogelbach, put his experience to work for you. Ed Fogelbach proudly serves St. Louis area families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Fogelbach Agency at 314-398-0101 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Fogelbach Agency at 314-398-0101. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Grab your friends, a cold one, and pull up a chair. We're on to the 19th hole on golf with Jay Delsing.
The 19th hole is brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
Welcome back. Golf with Jay Delsing here. The 19th hole, our favorite, brought to you by our friends at Michelob Ultra. Grab one, Pro. Let's go.
I got one already grabbed. I'm going.
All right, let's go. What do you got? What the Rick Ankiel stuff?
I mean, the most obvious to me is and we can relate to it. You talked about how you can relate to it, but it's just kind of losing the game. So I had a question for you to throw it out there. I know we just have a couple minutes left here, but what's a time you lost it, like for a round or a week? And when's a time frame you lost it? So the first one, when's the time you just found yourself completely, I can't get it around the
first
golf
time
course.
I remember that we were having the state amateur at Norwood Hills, and I was at UCLA, and I had somebody give my parents money so I could fly back to qualify because I couldn't get an exemption into the tournament. And I got out practicing the day before, and I shanked everything. And I've never shanked anyone before. And I had and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, the only shot I could play was this big, wacky-looking hook. Every time I tried to cut a ball, I shanked it. And I got out there, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean,
how was that night's sleep the night before?
It wasn't too bad. It really
That's
wasn't.
a major difference between you and I. I wouldn't have slept a week, and you just went to bed.
So I got out there in the qualifier, and I aimed right, and I wound up shooting like 73 or 4, and then somehow I worked my way out of it, and I don't remember, but I do remember the feeling of sheer panic.
Yeah.
And it was almost probably that I was young enough, and I didn't have these massively high expectations yet. I mean, I think it was like early in college. I hadn't been an All-American yet, and I was still finding my way. I don't think I had changed the length of my clubs. Remember what a big deal that was for me and stuff. So, but I can remember this. When I had the yips, it went with me everywhere. It went with me out to dinner. It went with me. All I could think about was, I got the yips. I got the yips. I can't putt the ball straight. That's all I could think about all day long.
It's so hard to watch somebody with their yips. We can do that when we're just playing with friends, but sometimes you'll watch Senior Tour in particular. Tom Kite comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, literally, is he going to hit it? I remember when Johnny Miller, I think he had the yips. He still won at Pebble that time, and he was just absolutely like throwing the heel at it.
I finished 5th that week. I should have won that event, but that's an entirely different
another
show.
whole yip we could talk about another time.
Speaking of yips.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get through those times, and it runs through your game, and as you just said, it runs through your life, which really makes it hard.
And that's what Rick said. He goes, that's why he gave up the pitching aspect, because he said it was destroying It was hurting relationships, and he had, I loved what he said. He goes, "I'm pitching against my hero, Greg Maddux, and all I can think about before the game is I need to bat in my hand. I need to bat in my hand because I'm going to hit a home run off him, and I'm going to be a legend." He goes, "The pitching part, that was easy."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Amazing the tricks our mind can do, both to our benefit and to our demise.
Yeah. Bro, that's going to wrap up another show. One more in the books. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for doing this with me. Meet, thanks for taking care of us. Hit 'em straight, St. Louis. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
With a world-class faculty, hands-on learning from trimester 1, and real-world clinical training, Logan University is the smart choice for chiropractic and health sciences education. Visit logan.edu to learn more.